Hi, I'm Winston McLovin from Radio Free Winlove. I'm here at the Kootenay Yoga Festival with Tonya Dawn, one of our facilitator instructors here. Tell us what it is that, welcome Tonya, tell us what it is that you do.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach. And I guess my big passion of like what's underneath the foundation of my work is helping people find that self-love piece, that relationship to self. How are we talking to ourselves?
Right.
How do we relate to our own bodies? Because it's foundational that we find that self-love, compassion for ourselves to have healthy relationships with other people. We really co-create our reality.
So do you find you're working with people on a one-on-one, more of a personal level, or do you find you're working with couples or?
Yeah, so I do both. I do one-on-one coaching as well as couples coaching, which really specializes in tantric sex, my couples coaching. And my one-on-one is a little bit more vague, and I have a little bit more tools when I work one-on-one, and it's
Right.
a little bit more somatic based, so really going into the sensations that we experience from moment to moment and making friends with them, integrating them. They're often stuck experiences from our past, stuck emotions from our past that can cause contraction, tension in our body. And when we connect with them, what's there? Why is it there? What does it need?
And part of me just goes right to the thoughts of culture as well. You know, when we're talking about yoga and we're talking about Tantra, then these are practices that are not necessarily of the Western media and internet culture that we're all raised by and influenced by. And to bring these other practices in. I wonder if you'd speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to, actually. I mean, you're crazy if you talk to yourself, right? We used to like send you to the loony bin if you were talking to yourself.
Right.
And from my experience, this is actually so beautiful in our healing to learn to have that relationship to self.
Right.
Find out what's happening inside. We externally look for validation. You know, we go through a school system, or we, you know, from our parents' authority. We constantly are like being told, you know, you got an A, you got a B. This is my value is based on this.
Right.
So what happens when we go inward? And this isn't something that we really have practiced in our culture, in my culture anyway, and where we've grown up here in Canada.
Right.
And I mean, here at the yoga festival, it's like everywhere you go is about going inward. And I find that so beautiful. The 2 workshops that I've done today, it's really about going inward, feeling what's there, because that's what's alive in us.
Right.
If we notice it or not, it's subconsciously dictating how we relate to the world. So if we can start to understand that, gain awareness of what's happening inside of us, we get to start questioning it. Is this mine? Am I wanting to feel that I don't have worth? Do I want to feel fat and ugly when I look in the mirror? Or do I want to start to question that and rewrite my narrative, rewrite my subconscious beliefs? Because that self-talk, it comes from our past. It comes from the experience that we've had. Perhaps it even comes from past lives. So yeah, it's so beautiful seeing so much inward work here, and that's a big part of what I want to share with the world. And this festival here is to empower people to go inwards, to feel safe enough to go inward and to start exploring that, and to know that you can heal yourself.
You know, you make me think of a few different things. I've noticed that positive self-talk directly can affect my posture on a simple yoga level, you know. And so, I mean, when you're talking about Tantra and sexuality, there's obviously, you're starting at it from a self-talk, a personal, holistic approach to yourself. How do you look at yourself, and then therefore walk in the world and make relationships? But you know, there's you in the world, and then there's you as these different facilitators show us in different ways. And you said going inwards, there's you with your eyes closed. There's you in your own personal dialogue with yourself. So my guess or my understanding is that you're touching on giving people tools in that dialogue.
Yes.
Do you have any of those tools that you could speak to?
Yeah, absolutely. A big one is breath. Learning to be connected with our breath, breathe into the body parts that we want connection to. Right. We often breathe so shallow into our chest, and you know, you see as a child, you breathe into your belly, you breathe full, and then we start to think, oh, I'm fat, I don't want to breathe into my belly, I'll just breathe into my chest. We start to be really shallow. So by learning to breathe into our body, breathe into our genitals, we can also create connection with that breath. Right. You can breathe in qualities. and then using that breath to help move the energy. So one of my favorite tantric philosophies is using your movement and using your sound while breathing to support you to move those parts of us that are inside, because it's not about getting rid of them most of the time. We don't necessarily want to get rid of our past. It can then make us not feel like we belong to our body. What we really want to do is we want to bring those pieces home.
Right.
And so by connecting to the contraction inside of our gut or inside of our heart, the tension, and then breathing, using your breath to support you, you can sound that sensation. Give that sensation a voice.
Right.
Perhaps that's to scream, perhaps that's to cry, perhaps that's to just be like, no! And let that be said, because it's often something that we weren't able to do in our past. You know, having an experience where we couldn't say no because it wasn't safe, we then get that experience locked inside of us. It stops our pleasure, it stops our joy from flowing. We kind of just live in this like monotone flat line of like not really like feeling our emotional world. So by connecting with those sensations, using sound and movement to punch some pillows. Hello, baby.
It is a festival atmosphere, and we're all here.
Yeah,
Sound and
beautiful.
movement
I love
included,
it.
right?
Makes me think of my wonderful son that's not here today. So breathing into the body. Breathing into the body is so powerful, as well as using sound and movement to release that. Like learning to punch pillows and express my anger has been a milestone in my journey, because I never allowed myself to do that. I found it was unsafe to be angry. If I was angry as a child, it was like, you know, you want some cheese without wine. I learned fast to turn that to tears. If I cried, I would get noticed. But if I was angry, it was like, go away kind of thing.
Right.
So then by learning that about myself, I was learning how I show up in relationship like that, which is so frustrating for a partner.
Sounds scary. Yeah. Oh my goodness, all of those layers of relationships that have to unpack. You know, you do really find that your partner, when you get to know them, you're looking through to that child that's in there. You know, that's the work of relationships in the end.
Yeah, so much power in that, of like creating a safe container. So maybe in our bedroom, maybe in a space like this, where we connect to those sensations from a grounded place. So from a place of being resourced, you know, we don't necessarily want to go into that kind of healing work when we're already feeling agitated, when our nervous systems are elevated, but to create a safe space and then consciously choose, I'm going to call in my anger right now. I'm going to connect to that part of me and punch some pillows, stomp your feet, scream at the top of a mountain, move that energy.
I can really relate when you say bringing it through the voice and the body. Really, I feel like there is a way to just move your body for basically anything that you could ever say. You could say it with your body, or you could say it with your words. But you know, as you listen to a lot of loopers and singers and people who express their voice with maybe like not with words, particularly beatboxers per se. You know, sometimes I think that looks like it feels so good to just growl those sounds out, because they have an outlet for this. You know, you can take it chill, but if you can take it to places that are a little edgier and stronger, then there's a lot of work that gets done there as well.
Totally, exactly. And then also the awareness that comes up with that. If we're able to see that beatboxer being like, that looks fun, but I can't do that.
Right.
It's like, that's knowing your awareness of like, why can't I do that? Like, what's stopping me from doing that?
Yeah.
And with awareness, we then get to make choice. Yeah.
I want to ask about your work in the world outside of this festival. So how do you find your clients? How do you find? It's not the sort of work where I feel like you would open up a clinic on the street on Baker Street in Nelson.
I do have a clinic on Baker.
Oh, you do?
I
Okay,
do, yeah.
right.
I'm currently working out of the center space on Baker Street.
Great.
I work Wednesdays and Thursdays in person, and I also offer online coaching as well. But I love in person. It's a much more intimate container. I've been doing this work since 2019, and all of my clients have been just word of mouth. So I haven't really had to do any advertising. It's been just like, you know, you share these tools with someone, and then they're like, I send 10 clients your way, because if they're affected by these tools, if it's changed their life, then it just naturally creates flow and clients come in.
Right.
So I've been really lucky with that. And I have just been working part-time. I'm also a mother. So I have a small child at home that I raise. So 2 days a week is
Is
my
enough.
maxing out right
Yeah,
now of
great.
Holding space for other people.
Yeah, well, it's good to know what you got to give and what you got to hold.
Yeah, it's a practice and finding balance.
So where do people out there listening find access to your work, or where would you direct people listening if you had a message for them, a closing message?
Yeah, if you want to reach out for a free discovery call or an introductory session, I have a website. It's www.nakedheartcoaching.ca.
Amazing. Well,
And then through that, you can find my email, find a little bit more about me, and a little bit more about what I offer.
well, it's been a delight to sit here and speak with you.
Yeah, you
So
as well.
good,
Thank
yeah.
you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming and sharing what you have and what you share with this festival.
It's my pleasure. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, good
Thank
to
you.
meet you, Tonya.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah, it was easy. No, that was wonderful. It was good. That was fun. Thank you for the wonderful questions.
Roll the wheel. If it goes to sleep, you roll the wheel.
Are you guys doing live radio in the festival?
No, we're recording podcast interviews that will go out on radio on our normal broadcast and online.